Man, I've got to be very clear in this audio because I could easily be misunderstood. Hey, did Dave just call us stupid? No, I didn't. Ignorant, yes. Stupid, no. Ignorance means you simply don't know something, and ignorance is correctable with learning about the something you don't yet, but will soon know about with knowledge. The role of a watchman, people, is to observe and shout out on warning to any that have ears to hear. I'm not pointing a finger at anyone and accusing anyone of anything. Of course, there's one exception. I will always point out and accuse that son of a bitch Murray of everything, including the Great Chicago Fire. Okay, now here's a little food for thought. Set the tone for this audio concerning each of our journeys through this thing called life. If you're an individualist, it can't get more individualistic than this. So, if you don't know where you started from, and if you don't know where you are going to in life's journey, then how do you take two don't knows and end up with a do know? Any do knows. And if you don't know why you're listening to me now, then stay with me, people, because I'm just getting started on Sunday, the 7th of November, 2021. This, then, people, is what I often refer to as the deer in the headlights phenomenon. The glossy-eyed, blank stare that basically says in body language, what the F is going to happen now? Or what the F just happened, or what will happen yet? Next. Unfortunately, there are very few individualists out there, in spite of the many claiming, I'm a rugged individualist, whatever that's supposed to mean. No, the vast majority of mankind has a herd mentality. Murray calls us cattle, which always pisses me off, but it does appear to be an accurate observation. Just saying. For even today, in fact, over the last year and a half, how many times have you heard the terms herd immunity? Now, ranchers, help me out here. When you guys move your head of cattle, let's just say, 500 head, from one pasture to another, isn't it true that the last thing you want is 500 cows going up in 360 different directions? Why 360, people? How many degrees in a circle? Now, isn't that why you herd the herd, round them up with horses and four-wheelers, and bunch them up going in the same direction? The direction you want them to go, not the direction each of the 500 want to go. The masters of the plantation operate on most of us the very same way. And yes, they see us as a bunch of cattle. Again, they call us that. Don't believe me? Ask Murray. As with any herd, you have the healthy and the sick, the old and the young, the productive and the unproductive, also known as useless eaters. And I've asked the question many times, well, hell, isn't it just good business to cull the herd? To cut out of the herd, if you will, whether they be literal cattle or people, the non-productive? You've got to quit looking at the big picture from your very limited, low information position and try to see it from the plantation owner's viewpoint, for they are in charge for the moment. Seriously, what earthly good is it to have the slaves consume all they produce and no more? What's in it for the masters? All cost, no profit? Ain't gonna happen. Rightly did the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the big daddy of the 12, freely write for any to read, and they're free for the asking. Yeah, the Fed knows you have no money in spite of what you believe. Publication, Keeping Our Money Healthy, on page 6. If there were fewer people bidding against each other, our money would better keep its value. Think about what I just told you. What they wrote and told us. They gotta tell you the truth. And the title of the free publication says it all. They, our masters, prefer healthy money over healthy people. Yep, fewer people, that's us. And our money, it's not our money, it's their money they effortlessly create. And rightly so did the Creator clearly state, my people perish for lack of knowledge. How so? Back to the two don't knows from the beginning of this audio. If you believe, and the masters have gone to great efforts to convince you that you are an insignificant one of 7.5 billion people that all live on a minor planet in a minor solar system, with a minor sun whirling endlessly in a minor one of millions of galaxies, flying aimlessly without purpose in ever-expanding infinite space, the universe. See where I'm going with that? You can get it complex, man, real easy. God damn, I'm insignificant. Yeah, you're just a speck out there somewhere. However, if you know you are very significant, a very important member, taking part in a very ordered plan with clear directions, if you know by increasing your knowledge that you live on a very special piece of geography that is the absolute center of everything, beginning to understand why our masters do all they possibly can to ensure the vast majority remain ignorant and remain dumb cattle. Again, don't take my word for it. Ask Murray what a certain word means. So far, what's Tim going about that? I just gave you all excellent hope. Don't be cattle. Be shining I am somebody's stars. But there is a dark side to this, and it is funny and yet tragic and sad at the same time. I use a deer in the headlights example very often. I was at the bottom feeder pit yesterday. A lot of blaze orange. For after all, it was day 2 of deer season. By the way, the toxic twins are there. I know gravity is a bullshit scam. However, there may be a case to be made for gravitate. For busy as it was, all bar stools occupied, and since Murray and BF did not come together and had to sit far apart, it didn't take them long to gravitate to each other. The 2 peas in a pod they are. Amazing. You really have to see it to believe it. Okay, back to my point. I was asked by a number of people yesterday, why are you so quiet? I simply said, God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth. I'm listening and learning, which is totally the truth. And what I learned was absolutely depressing. The conversations and the subject matter, or lack thereof. Of course you had the understandable hunting conversations. I got it. It's deer hunting season. But even those conversations quickly whittled down to the most insignificant, trivial, and trite bullshit you can only imagine. The blinding headlights bearing down on the hunters of the deer in the headlights was mortifying and ironic. And said another way, the people present, without even one exception, were absolutely clueless, as well as indifferent, to what is coming down upon all of us, and sooner than we all think. And not going to happen is happening. Now, these are not stupid people, but how can they be so unaware? Stunning. I guess even more distressing is the bottom feeder pit. I'm not picking on it. Was no different than any other bar or restaurant or public place people meet. In short, I'm betting the conversations were the same. And all I can say is, Houston, we have a problem, and we as a people are effed. Truly, people will perish for lack of knowledge. So finally, I'm going to wrap this thing up or it runs too long. In yesterday's video about Prince Charles' speech at the COP26 United Nations, the Blue Helmet People Conference on Climate Change in Glasgow, Scotland, who was Charlie talking about when he said his trillions? Because Charles was not talking about himself. And if you think it was a super bankster gangster Mark Carney from G-Fans a couple of videos ago, or Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, I see you thinking you're in need of another clue to its identity. Remember Jordy Rose of D-Wave and his newest company now, Kindred AI? He said, what we are building is not human. Remember? You have to use all the puzzle pieces, people. Provided in my audios. Very important. And don't get hung up on the term building. To build something doesn't necessarily mean assemble nuts and bolts. Brick and mortar. Think along the lines of building a better future. Or, gotta hate this one, build back better. Alright people, stuff to do.